All right, so we're back. And today we're going deep.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's a classic. We're diving into The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Okay.
You know, that book everyone and their mother seems to have read in the personal growth world.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're going to really unpack it, see what's actually useful, for you and me in our everyday lives.
I think that's important. It's so easy to read these books and then nothing
Yeah.
changes.
Right. Like, okay, great ideas, but then what?
Exactly.
So we're going to get practical today.
And it's a good choice for a deep dive because it's a deceptively simple story.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, on the surface, it's almost like a fable.
Yeah.
You've got this lawyer, Julian Mantle,
Yeah.
super burned out, ditches his whole fancy life, the Ferrari, the suit.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah, exactly. And he runs off to the Himalayas.
Right. But it's not just about the mountains, is it? It's what happens there in this village called Savannah.
Right. That's the heart of it. That's what makes it more than just a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another travelogue.
Exactly.
What always gets me, though, is that transformation, right?
Yeah.
Like, Julian goes from this stressed out lawyer
Yeah.
to, radiating youthful energy. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want that?
Right. It's like he found the fountain of youth, but for, your inner self.
Right, exactly. It's not just about looking younger. It's about, a shift, from chasing all that external success to, really prioritizing your inner peace and feeling fulfilled.
I think that resonates with so many people.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of being stuck, like you're on this treadmill,
Yeah.
always striving for more, but never quite feeling like you've arrived.
Yeah, that constant striving.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I remember when I first read this book, I was working insane hours. I was always on.
Yeah.
And, honestly, feeling a little burnt out. I wasn't having a heart attack like Julian.
Right.
But,
But you were feeling the strain.
oh, yeah. Totally missing out on simple things, hanging out with friends, actually reading a book,
Yeah.
just taking a walk without, checking my phone every 5 seconds.
I think those are signs, though.
Yeah.
Not as dramatic as a heart attack, obviously.
Oh, right.
But those moments when you realize something's got to change.
Yeah.
Could be a health scare, a relationship ending,
Yeah.
or just that nagging feeling like you're not living the life you actually want.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a wake-up call.
It is. It's a wake-up call.
And for Julian, I mean, his wake-up call was pretty dramatic.
Oh, yeah, that heart attack.
Yeah, but that's what pushed him, to sell everything, trade that Ferrari for a plane ticket.
To India.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
land right in the middle of this, ancient wisdom tradition in Savannah.
It's like he traded his sports car for a
Yeah.
soul-searching safari.
I love that. Soul-searching safari. And that's what we're going to unpack, right? What
Yeah.
he actually learns in Savannah.
And it's not some esoteric,
Right. Yeah.
airy-fairy stuff.
Right.
It's practical. He brings back 7 virtues that he learned. And these are like tools, real tools we can use.
Okay, yeah, let's dive into those because
Yeah.
I'm definitely curious to see how those tools actually work.
Yeah, me too. And I think our listeners are too.
Okay, so those 7 virtues, let's break them down. And the first one, I think it's something a lot of us struggle with.
Oh, definitely.
Mastering your mind. It's that's the foundation.
Right. It is. It is.
Yeah.
And in the book, they represent it with this garden.
Yeah, the garden. It's such a a fitting metaphor.
It is. Right. Because just like a garden, our minds need,
Yeah.
tending.
Tend it.
We let things just run wild, we're going to end up with a lot of weeds.
Oh, yeah, totally. But if we're careful about what we plant
Yeah.
and, nurture those seeds,
Right.
then we can grow something amazing.
Absolutely. Something beautiful.
Yeah. But how do we actually garden our minds? Because I don't know about you, but I have those negative thoughts
Oh, all the time.
pop up constantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like they're weeds, right?
Yes. And
Yeah.
they're the toughest weeds to pull.
They are. But the Savannah sages, they had this technique. Opposition thinking, they called it.
Okay.
And it's so simple.
Okay.
You don't fight those negative thoughts directly. As soon as you notice one, you replace it with a positive thought.
But sometimes that feels forced, if I'm anxious about a presentation, telling myself I'm going to rock this doesn't always.
Yeah, I get that. And it's not about denying those negative feelings. It's about, shifting your focus.
Okay.
So instead of I'm going to rock this,
Yeah.
it's more like, okay, even if I'm nervous, I've prepared well,
Right.
I can still get my point across.
Right. Right. Finding that positive thought that actually resonates.
Exactly. One that feels real to you in that moment.
Okay. So it's a practice.
It is. It is. The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Right. Like training a muscle.
Exactly. And Julian, He actually used a physical tool to help with this.
Oh, really? What was it?
Prayer beads. Every time he had a negative thought, he would move a bead and replace it with a positive one.
That's such a good idea. Like a physical reminder.
It is a reminder to stay mindful of what's going on in your,
Yeah.
mental garden.
Okay, so we've got our minds, we're tending our gardens.
We are.
But then there's the whole question of purpose, right?
Absolutely. And the image they use for this one is a lighthouse.
Oh, yeah, a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Guiding ships.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like you need that sense of direction.
You do.
Especially when things get rough.
You need that guiding light, that North Star.
Totally. And Julian, before his transformation, he was like the poster child for,
Yeah.
Outward success, but feeling totally lost inside.
Yeah. He had all the things, but no real purpose.
Right. But finding your purpose, that can feel so daunting.
Oh, it can.
It's like, what's my one true calling?
Right.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is. But I think it's less about finding one perfect path and more about aligning your actions with, what really matters to you.
Okay, so like my values.
Yeah, your values, your passions. It's about asking yourself those big questions.
That's what lights me up.
Exactly. What do I care about? How can I use my skills to, make a difference?
So it's not just about like what I get from life, but what I give back.
Absolutely. And once you start tapping into that, it changes everything.
Okay, so let's say I've like done some soul searching.
Yeah.
I have the better sense of what I want to do. What's the next step?
All right, so the Savannah Sages, they were big on this one.
Okay.
Write down your goals.
Really, just write them down.
It sounds simple,
Yeah.
but there's power in it.
I've heard that, but I've always wondered, like, why does that actually make a difference?
It's about focus. When you write something down, you're telling your subconscious, hey, this matters.
Okay.
It's like giving those desires more weight,
Right.
and that can make them more likely to actually, manifest.
So it's like, back to the garden analogy.
Yeah. You're planting those seeds.
Yeah.
And then, giving them the attention they need to grow.
Okay, I'm with you. And speaking of manifesting,
Yeah.
the Savannah Sages, they had this whole technique about visualization, right?
They did. The secret of the lake.
Ooh, that sounds kind of mystical.
It is a little bit, but it's really powerful.
Yeah.
So imagine a beautiful lake,
Okay.
crystal clear water, surrounded by mountains.
Yeah, I can picture it.
That's where they would go to visualize their desires.
So, like, if I want to start my own business,
Uh-huh.
I should just, like, picture myself in a corner office feeling successful.
It's more than just the picture. It's about feeling it.
Okay.
So yes, visualize the office, but also feel the accomplishment, the
Okay.
freedom, the joy. Like you're already living it.
So it's like creating a movie trailer.
It is
Yeah.
a mental movie trailer for the life you want to create.
I love that.
And the more you do it, the more you're programming your mind to make those visions a reality.
Okay, so we've covered mastering our minds.
Uh-huh.
We've talked about purpose. We have...
That's the next step on this.
All right, this one's all about discipline. And they use this image, get this, a giant sumo wrestler wearing nothing but a pink wire cable.
Okay, now that's an image. But how does, like, a sumo wrestler,
Yeah.
even a scantily clad one, represent discipline?
Think about a sumo wrestler's strength, their self-control.
Okay.
They train their minds and bodies to achieve incredible things.
Yeah.
And that pink wire cable, it represents restraint. The ability to, like, resist those temptations.
Right.
Delay gratification for something bigger.
So it's like saying no to that extra glass of wine.
Yes. Or that Netflix binge.
Yeah.
So you can get up early and work on that project.
Right.
Well-
Right. So even little acts of discipline, like making my bed.
Yes.
Or taking the stairs instead of the elevator.
All of it. The Savannah Sages called it Kaizen.
Okay.
Continuous self-improvement.
I like this.
Small, consistent choices lead to big changes.
That's encouraging because sometimes I get overwhelmed thinking about, like, overhauling my entire life.
Oh, but if it's just about those small steps,
It is.
it feels more doable.
It is. It is. And it builds momentum. Like you start small, you stay consistent,
Yeah.
and you gradually build up that strength.
Okay, that makes sense.
It does. It does. And that brings us to the fourth virtue, which kind of builds on what we were just talking about,
Okay.
respecting your time. In the fable, the sumo wrestler finds a stopwatch.
Yeah. Time is precious.
It is. It's something we can never get back.
I'm definitely guilty of wasting time.
Oh, we all are.
I mean, how many hours have I spent just scrolling?
Right. It's easy to fall into that trap of busyness,
Totally.
doing a lot, but not necessarily the right things.
Yeah. And that's where that what was it, the 80-20 rule comes in?
Yes, the ancient rule of 20. It's the idea that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts.
So it's about like focusing on those high impact activities.
Exactly. It's about, quality over quantity.
Right, right. And being intentional with how you schedule your time.
Yes, making time for things that nourish you.
Like actually blocking off time for exercise.
Exactly. Or meditation, or even just reading.
Yeah. It's like treating those appointments with myself with the same respect as like a work meeting.
Absolutely. And don't forget the power of no.
Oh, yeah. Setting boundaries.
Protecting your time and energy.
Even if it means like disappointing people sometimes.
It does. It does. All right, let's move on to the fifth virtue.
Okay.
This one's a powerful one, and it's all about serving others. They represent it with pink roses.
Oh, I love that. Roses, they're just so associated with love and compassion.
They are.
Yeah.
And the Savannah sages, they believed true fulfillment comes from contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Right. It's like that quote, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Beautifully said. And it doesn't have to be, some grand gesture.
Right.
It could be helping a neighbor, volunteering, or just listening to a friend who's going through a tough time.
Yeah, sometimes we think our actions have to be huge to matter.
Right.
But it's those everyday acts of kindness that can really, like, ripple outward.
Absolutely. And they had this story about a giant to illustrate this.
Oh, a giant. Okay, I'm listening.
So picture this giant.
Yeah.
Who lives in a huge castle, beautiful garden.
Okay.
But he's all alone. He's built walls around himself.
Oh, that's sad.
It is. But then, one day, this little boy wanders into the garden.
Oh.
At first, the giant's furious.
Yeah.
But then he sees this little boy, and his heart softens. He starts letting the kids into his garden, and his life changes.
That's so sweet.
It is, and it shows how even a small act of kindness can have a huge impact.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just about doing good for others. It's about, like, nourishing our own souls in the process.
Exactly.
So we've talked about, like, mastering our minds, finding that purpose, living with discipline, respecting our time, and serving others.
Really important stuff.
Yeah, it is. But, like, what's next on this path?
Well, this one might seem a little, especially after all that talk about goals and, discipline and all that.
Right.
But it's embracing the present moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And the symbol for this one is yellow roses.
Yellow roses, huh?
Yeah.
I'm seeing a theme here with all the...
I know.
Right.
The nature metaphor.
The Savannah sages, they loved their nature.
They did. So what do the yellow roses represent, like, in this context?
Well, think about yellow roses. They're associated with, joy, vibrancy, that feeling of, like, really living life to the fullest. And that's what this virtue is about.
Okay.
Savoring every experience, appreciating the beauty of right now.
Yeah. Instead of getting caught up in, like, the past or worrying about the future.
Exactly.
It's so easy to do that, though.
Oh, it is. It is. We all do it.
I mean, how many times have I, like, completely missed out on something awesome?
Yeah.
Because I was either, dwelling on something that already happened.
Or stressing about something that might not even happen.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
It is. And the Savannah sages, they had this saying about it.
Oh, yeah? What was it?
It was something like, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's a good reminder to, like, focus on what we can actually control.
Right. This moment.
This moment right here, right now.
Yeah. And they also had this story.
Oh, they love their stories.
They did.
Which one was this?
It was the tale of Peter and the magic thread.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's about this boy, Peter, who's always, like, wishing for what's next.
Always looking ahead.
Yeah, he can't wait to grow up, experience all the exciting things he thinks adulthood holds.
Right, right.
And then one day, he meets this old woman who gives him this ball of golden thread.
Okay.
But it's like, magic thread.
Magic thread.
Yeah, it can make time move faster.
Wow.
Yeah. So at first, Peter's, like, super stoked.
Of course, who wouldn't be?
Yeah. He uses the thread to, like, skip ahead to all these milestones, graduating, getting his dream job, falling in love, all that.
Wow.
But as he's, speeding through life, he starts to realize he's missing out on all the little things.
The in-between moments.
Yeah, the simple joys, hanging out with friends, just, like, quiet moments of reflection, the beauty of everyday life. And he ends up, reaching old age filled with regret.
Oh, that's sad.
It is, because he wasted all that time wishing it away.
It's such a powerful lesson
It is.
about, slowing down, appreciating the journey.
Not just the destination.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's where practices like meditation and mindfulness come in, right?
They do. They do. It's about training your mind to be present.
Yeah.
In whatever you're doing, whether it's,
Okay.
eating, walking in nature, or just talking to someone you care about,
Yeah. Yeah. Being fully present.
being there.
Okay, so we've got 6 virtues down.
6 down, 1 to go.
What's the final one?
It's living with purpose.
Yeah.
And the image they use for this is the sumo wrestler. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
He's following this sparkling diamond path.
Okay, a diamond path.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty glamorous.
It does, right. And living a purposeful life, it can be pretty amazing.
Yeah. But what does that path, actually represent?
It's about aligning your actions with your values, your aspirations.
Yeah.
Using your gifts to, make a positive impact.
So it's not just about, achieving personal success.
No, it's bigger than that.
It's about contributing to something, larger than yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. And remember, this whole personal growth thing, it's not about overnight transformations.
Right.
It's about taking those small steps.
Yeah. One virtue, one technique at a time.
Exactly. Maybe this week it's opposition thinking.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's, 5 minutes of meditation every day.
Right.
Just start somewhere.
Okay, well, I don't know about you, but I feel pretty inspired after this deep dive.
Me too. It's amazing how a story like this
Yeah.
can still be so relevant.
Yeah, it is. Those timeless messages, they really stick with you.
They do. And this whole journey of personal growth, it's a lifelong thing.
Yeah.
You never really, arrive.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, I think we should wrap things up.
Yeah, sounds good.
But before we do, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought from Julian Mantle.
Okay, shoot.
He said, "For what lies behind you and what lies in front of you matters little when compared to what lies within you."
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
Really makes you think.
It does.
So to everyone listening, remember, you have that power within you
Yeah.
to create the life you want.
Yeah.
Embrace those virtues, play around with the techniques.
And keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep.
Until next time.